Good morning, beautiful people around the world, and welcome to Obinwannem English News Update. My name is Obinwannem, the news presenter. On the trending news today, the 2nd day of July 2024, according to Vanguard, capital importation rises 210% to 3.38 billion US dollars. Capital importation into the country grew quarter on quarter by 210% to 3.38 billion US dollars in the first quarter of 2024 from 1.09 billion US dollars in the fourth quarter of 2023. The National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) disclosed this yesterday in its capital importation report for the first quarter of 2024. Similarly, year on year, capital importation rose by 198% to 3.38 billion US dollars from 1.13 billion US dollars in the first quarter of 2023. NBS said in the first quarter of 2024, total capital importation into Nigeria stood at 3.38 billion US dollars, higher than 1.13 billion US dollars recorded in the first quarter of 2023, indicating an increase of 198.06%. In comparison to the preceding quarter, capital importation rose by 210.16% from 1.09 billion US dollars in the fourth quarter of 2023. Naira rises to 1,510 per dollar in parallel market. The Naira yesterday appreciated in the parallel market to 1,510 per dollar from 1,515 Naira per dollar last week, Friday. However, the Naira depreciated to 1,508.99 per dollar in the Nigerian Autonomous Foreign Exchange Market, NAFEM. Data from FMDQ showed that the indicative exchange rate for NAFEM fell to 1,508.99 per dollar from 1,505.3 per dollar last weekend, indicating 3.69 depreciation for the Naira. The volume of dollars traded in the market fell by 34.9% to 122.31 million US dollars from 187.82 million last week, Friday. Consequently, the margin between the parallel market and NAFEM rates narrowed to 1.01 Naira per dollar from 9.7 Naira per dollar last weekend. Now moving to Punch. NEDC declares emergency in Borno-Adamawa border bridge. The Northeast Development Commission has declared an emergency on the bridge in the Madagili local government that connects Borno to Adamawa state on the border of the two states. The managing director of NEDC, Mohammed Goni Alkali, who visited the area on Friday during his inspection tour of projects in Adamawa State, expressed serious concern and noted that the commission must take quick action to avoid the two states from being disconnected as a result of the collapsed bridge. He said that the major responsibility of the commission is to provide services that have direct bearing on the lives of the people of the Northeast region. Alkali, who visited the collapsed bridge with the project manager of Tractor Construction Company, Mr. Waji, directed the manager to immediately carry out a survey of the bridge to enable the commission to take swift action. Gombe residents seek government intervention in rent hike. Some residents of the federal low-cost government reserved area, Tumfuri, and the state low-cost have lamented the arbitrary increase in the cost of house rent in Gombe State. Arewa Punch reports that those affected are mainly visitors in the state who are on transfer from the federal government, non-government organizations, placements, as well as corps members. Investigation conducted by Rewa Punch revealed that as a result of the growing trend, many of the residents have called for the establishment of rent tribunals to adjudicate some of the rent-related disputes. Salihu Adamu told our correspondent that his rent was arbitrarily increased by the landlord through his agents, making his two-bedroom apartment of 250,000 annual house rent to 600,000 naira without justifiable reason. Reps seek development fund for rural communities. The House of Representatives is advocating the establishment of a rural area development fund following the passage for the first reading of the Rural Areas Development Agency Bill 2024. The bill, sponsored by the member representing Ogbaru Federal Constituency, Anambra State, Afam Ogene, seeks to establish a rural area development board and a fund to foster community sustainability and economic initiatives for rapid development of the rural areas. The bill seeks the transfer of all functions of the Department of Rural Development of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture to the Rural Areas Development Agency. The proposed legislation in Section 2 seeks the establishment of a board made up of a chairman, a representative each from the 6 geopolitical zones, and a representative each from the Federal Ministries of Works, Water, Resources, Environment, Agriculture, Health, Power, and National Planning. And now on the world news, high winds and heavy rain as Caribbean hit by hurricane. Hurricane Beryl made landfall in the Caribbean on Monday, leaving floods in Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Grenada. Winds of up to 150 mph, that is 241 km per hour, swept through the islands as the hurricane became a category 4 storm when it first met land. It is expected to pass through the southeast Caribbean next. Republic of Ireland needs 35,000 new homes a year. The Republic of Ireland needs to build at least 35,000 homes every year to keep up with population growth, a major new report suggests. It adds that in a high immigration scenario, the number of necessary new homes could be as high as 53,000 per year. The government's current target is 33,000, but it has been known for some time that it's too low. Housing availability and cost is a major political and social issues in Ireland. The report from the Economic and Social Research Institute was commissioned by the Department of Housing and Local Government. The work considers a range of population projections based on birth and death rates and various international migration assumptions. It then estimates future housing demand based on these population projections, as well as a range of other assumptions, including Ireland's typical household size. Lastly, on our news package this morning, Green activist jailed for insulting Cambodian king. Cambodia has jailed 10 environmental activists for plotting against the government and insulting the king in what critics have described as a politically motivated case. The members of the group Mother Nature were charged in 2021 after they documented waste runoff into Phnom Penh's Tunnel Sap River near the Royal Palace. On Tuesday, 3 of them, including Spanish co-founder Alejandro Gonzalez Davison, were sentenced to 8 years in jail and fined $2,500, while 7 others were handed 6-year terms. Since its founding in 2013, Mother Nature has campaigned against environmentally destructive projects and raised questions on how natural resources are managed in the Southeast Asian country. They document their findings in playful and informative videos that they post on Facebook, where they have 457,000 followers. Environmental groups have long accused Cambodia's leader of profiting from the country's natural resources. The government denies this and says Mother Nature is encouraging social unrest. Cambodia's law against insulting the king is relatively new and took effect only in 2018. Critics say it is being used to crack down on dissent. When the charges against the Mother Nature activists were filed in 2021, prosecutors did not say how the law had been violated. And this, we've come to the end of our news update this morning. Thanks for listening to Obinwannem News Hour. Please make sure you do follow Obinwannem News platform to be updated anytime we come live. Stay blessed and do have a lovely day. My name is still Ubu Promise, Obinwannem News presenter from Akwa Ibom State.